Hello, I'm Reverend Rick, and it is my honor to be with you today. We really hope that this video is a blessing to you. And if it is, please consider making a donation. People watch our videos locally when they cannot necessarily come to church throughout the United States and the world. So please join us and click the link below and make a donation. Thank you, and let this be a blessing to you. Let's prepare ourselves for the message this morning. Put your hand over your eyes. Open our eyes to receive the spiritual truth today. Over our ears. Open my ears to hear the spiritual truth today. Cross over your heart and release. And I open my heart to receive the spiritual truth today. The spiritual truth I am dealing with today is this. It's gratitude is the power to unlimited possibility. Unlimited possibility. I am not talking about talent, although talent is included. I am talking about unlimited possibility, unlimited potential. And it resides within each one of us. That's why it's just not talent. Ernest Holmes put it like this. He said, an attitude of gratitude is the point where we move from doubt to faith. It is the point of realization. Just thinking about it. At the point of realization, everything is possible. Not just what you need. There is unlimited possibility in realization. But we must be grateful. Now, I learned gratitude really young. And of course, it's a very embarrassing situation. Because, I get excited about things, nice, shiny things. And I really don't evaluate exactly what it's going to take. I just decide to just jump all in. And then I realized I may have bit off a little bit more than I can chew. So my father dies right before I go to college, between me graduating from high school and starting college. And so I lived at home. I had a full-time job, night shift at the hospital, and I went to school in the daytime. It is not to be noble. I was greedy. That's all this was about. I didn't want to be a very poor college student. I didn't have to pay rent. I lived at home. My mother fed me, and I worked full time. I was living pretty large. Okay? New car, the whole thing. I loved it, right? But overestimated what it would take to work full time at night every weekend for 3 years, and to go to school after I got off of work. Now, how I would manage it is this, and this is insane, and I can only do this at 18 years old. I couldn't do it now. I would drive on the highway, and I knew as soon as I had my first nod of going to sleep, I would wake up and I would be awake for the whole day. That is the most dangerous thing in the world to necessarily do, right? But I knew I would be okay for the rest of the day. And so one day I ran into my mother, and I was on a roll. I was complaining. I had books all over the table. I'm trying to study. I know I have to work. And I am just complaining. And she waits until I take a breath, and she looks at me and she says, you can go to school less, you can work less, you can do each one of them less. But baby, you have got to change. Because here's the point. You are just telling the universe that you are not grateful. You made every decision that you are in right now. No one made them for you. And now you are ungrateful. Gratitude. 3 levels of gratitude. Gratitude as an emotion, gratitude as a mood, and gratitude as a lifestyle. Gratitude as an emotion. Gratitude as an emotion means you give me something and I get pretty excited about it. I give you something that you get pretty excited about it. But it only lasts, only so long. And then there is gratitude that's a mood. And the gratitude of a mood is something happens significant and it makes an impression upon you. Like when you have been sick and now you are well. Every time you think about that experience again, you get happy again. And then there is this lifestyle of gratitude. And the lifestyle of gratitude is where you live in this place of potentiality. You live in what Thomas Trowett calls the law of possibility. Okay? When you are here in this particular place, you are in an exchange with spirit to such an extent that you necessarily are constantly creating. Not just talent, constantly creating, accessing unlimited potential. Rumi put it like this. He said, gratitude is the wine of the soul. So I read a study recently, and it said the average person, and no one in here is average. The average person, the other people that you encounter during the week. The average person has 50,000 thoughts a day, and 70% of them are negative. 35,000 thoughts a day in the other people, not you, and other people that are necessarily negative. So how are you going to overcome the negativity? Don't we believe that our lives outpicture what we believe? What our consciousness is? Isn't that what this is all about? Yet we are not even aware 35,000 thoughts for those other people is negative. How are you going to overcome? Gratitude is the way of doing that. Gratitude. 1, 2, gratitude for healing and restoration. I go to a story of Jesus. Jesus in this story is a healer, he is a revolutionary, and he is a teacher. There are 10 men who are lepers. Just understand that as they have a skin condition. And everyone knows to stay away from them. They don't understand microbes at this time, but they know to stay away from them. Okay? So therefore, they are homeless. They are ostracized. They are outcasts. They cannot live in community. And it is so important that they don't live in community that when you walk by them, they scream unclean and rip their clothes. So Jesus walks by and, constantly opening up the consciousness of the people that are with him and us as we read the story. They say, mercy on us. And Jesus says, go show yourself to the priest. Because that was the law of the day. The priest would determine whether or not you were clean or unclean. Jesus continues. And one of them comes back. And Jesus says, I thought there were 10 of you. You are just one. And he says, because of your gratitude and your thankfulness, your faith has made you whole. Now, if you understand this story only as a physical healing story, you miss the point. He is an outcast. He is ostracized. The fact that he is now healed puts him back in community. This is a social justice act of Jesus to restore people to community that the rules have pushed out. See, this is what happens when consciousness is open. And not only does this individual's consciousness open, the people that are with Jesus understand that people mean more than rules. There were plenty of rules. People mean more than rules. 3, a lifestyle of gratitude. Now, it's easy for us to embrace realization when we need something. Okay? We go to the practitioner, we call Rev, send an email. I need this to happen. But what about getting into the point of realization where you are accessing unlimited potentiality? In other words, accessing something that isn't even created yet. It has never even materialized. It's a song that has not been written. It has not been sung. It's a new invention that doesn't even exist today. Think about it. Everything that we have today at one time was not here, but it always existed. But it's in that defined potentiality where all of this resides. And if we can just access divine potentiality, how do we do that? Number one, stop keeping count. Okay? This is what I mean by keeping count. I do something for you, and I wait for you to do something for me. You do something for me, I do something for you. Or the fact that I work at a relationship for somebody who doesn't want to even have a relationship with me, right? That's keeping count, because you are looking for something to come from the place where you have made the investment, other than appreciating wherever the blessing comes from. See, living in a lifestyle of gratitude means it doesn't make any difference where it comes from. I'm just open to where it happens. So consider it like this. Our lives are like a 747. Have you ever thought about you're like a 747? A loaded 747 weighs 167,000 pounds. 167,000 pounds of potential ability to take off and fly. But it doesn't look like it should be able to do that, right? But what happens is the pilot gets to a speed that the wind over the wing actually is narrowed down to the ground, and it lifts the plane off the runway. So what is this that it lifts and overcomes? It overcomes the headwinds. Okay? The headwinds of our life are the doubt, the unbelief, and the messages of life that we have to get over. It is what we work at our entire lives to come to grips with and learn how to appreciate it to the point that it works for us and no longer against us. But you can't just pay attention to the headwind. You must also consider the tailwind. And the tailwind are the experiences in life where you just learn to be grateful even though you don't understand why it happened and what it all means. But you're grateful anyway, because you live in a life of gratitude, understanding that there is unlimited potential. So how do you get your life to take off? How do you lift your attitude? How do you overcome 35,000 negative thoughts a day? Appreciate the headwind and where you've put your effort, but don't forget the tailwind of gratitude. Everything in your life that works together for your good. So what is the moral of this story? Stop keeping count and do good everywhere you can, because everywhere that you do good, it will return to you, just not necessarily where you actually done the good. But you can only do this if you are living in faith and at a point of realization. And so it is. Let's play. Knowing this one power and this one presence, knowing that in this oneness, all things can be realized. Every possibility can come true. So as I speak my word, I call it forth, knowing that it is here with us at all times and only